Hello and welcome again to another episode of Truly Happy One. Thank you po for joining us today, joining us this week for our episode, A New Lens for Innovation. Ako po si Eric Kalugdan, together with me Sir Enrico Garcia. I used to be an IT consultant for Unisys. It's a multinational company from the US. Sila yung nag-automate ng mga automation sa LTO, sa LRA, no? And
Oh,
now I also have my own business, which is Infotex. Started year 2001, so 19 years na siya sa industry. Also, I'm a CIO of Philpax, Philippine Payment and Clearing System. And you can call me a serial technopreneur. Entrepreneur na technology-based na iba-iba yung mga sideline, iba-iba yung mga businesses. Together with us is Sir Enrico Garcia. He used to be the retail operations manager for Shell. And after Shell, he became the country manager for Herbalife. And then after Herbalife, he became the director of operations ng Avon. And he was also one of the board of directors of the Direct Selling Association of the Philippines. Ngayon, siya po ay isang mindset coach. Ayan. And a few weeks back, no, in-approach ako ni Sir Enrico parang gumawa nitong series na Truly Happy One para matulungan naman yung ating mga kababayan, no? Dahil puro bad news na lang yung naririnig natin. And before we continue, of course, don't forget to let us know where you are watching from. Kung kayo po yung nanonood from Mandaluyong, type nyo lang dyan sa comments sa Facebook, watching from Mandaluyong. Or kung sa YouTube kayo nanonood, meron dyan sa chat portion sa YouTube, you can type in watching from Makati or watching from Cebu or Dubai, kung nasan man kayo, para alam natin hanggang saan ba. Sino yung mga overseas Filipinos na naaabot ng ating Truly Happy One at natutulungan natin na magbago ang kanilang mindset. At kung meron kayong mga questions, pwede niyo i-type din yun sa comments sa Facebook or chat sa YouTube, no? Comment nyo lang po yan. And of course, don't forget to like, you can comment and share and subscribe na rin kung nasa YouTube kayo. Merong subscribe button po dyan. Click nyo yung subscribe button para wala kayong ma-miss ng mga susunod na episodes natin sa Truly Happy One. And kung nasa Facebook naman kayo, meron po tayong Facebook community ng Truly Happy One. Yung link papunta dun sa Facebook community nasa description po nitong video. I think that's the last link. So click nyo lang po yung link na yun para makapunta kayo dun sa Truly Happy One Facebook community po natin. So again, ang purpose nitong Truly Happy One is to help our fellow Filipinos, whether nasa Philippines sila or overseas Filipino sila, no, para magbago yung kanilang mindset at maging successful at ma-achieve kung ano man yung goals na gusto nila sa buhay. And para mapakita rin natin sa buong mundo, no, yung tinatawag na world-class Pinoy excellence. Dahil meron class ang quality. Ayan. Si Sharon, nanonood po, Sir Enrico. Thank you. And
thank
Shimlet,
you,
Mark
Sean.
Ways,
Oh,
also watching us. Thank you po for watching. So, Sir Enrico, sa iba-ibang mga episodes natin, ngayon, ang episode natin is episode 13 na. Wow, naka-13 episodes na tayo.
wow.
So, by the way, we do this every week, every Saturday at 5 p.m. So, ibig sabihin, naka-13 weeks na tayo ng Saturday at 5 p.m. And yung topic nga natin today is a new lens for innovation. Ayan. Sir Enrico, ano ba yung new lens for innovation?
Yeah, thank you and good afternoon, Eric. And yeah, thank you for reminding me that it's been 13 weeks. So
Yes.
yeah, that's a good reminder. So thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for your time. So this is actually New Lens for Innovation. We briefly spoke about this in one of the episodes, pero hindi, without getting into a little more detail. So, kadalasan yung innovation, di ba? In fact, there was a study done by McKinsey where they interviewed CEO, global leaders, and 84% of them, sabi nila, napaka-importante ng innovation. So, without question. Yet, when they were asked, only 6%, Eric, were happy with their innovation in their respective companies. So, napakalaki nung gap as far as they acknowledge the importance, pero hindi sila ganun ka-happy, a very small percentage. So, ibig sabihin, parang medyo hit-miss Kung minsan, okay. Kadalasan, probably hindi. In other words, it wasn't really predictive. Diba? Hindi mo,
Tsaka hindi nagma-match.
right.
Hindi
Diba?
nagma-match yung aspirations nila, which is majority, versus dun sa actual numbers, which is the minority. No? Hindi sila match.
Correct. And that's being judged, of course, by, how the innovation does in the market. Diba? Yung response, diba? So,
Mhm.
we all, and lalo na in today's time, that's why ito yung gusto natin pag-usapan, talagang you need to innovate. Now, most people, and I'll ask you, even in companies, pag sinabi mong innovation, ang naiisip either bagong produkto, bagong technology, new sets of features and benefits, or it's a process, bagong proseso, or still it's a new business model.
Mhm.
So, one of those three, or sometimes combination. Sometimes ang focus is just product,
Mhm.
di ba? Sometimes hindi produkto pero proseso. Or the process could even lead to, hindi, baguhin natin yung business model.
Mhm.
Di ba? So, okay, this one we're going to talk about is, a bit non-conventional because the way dinidefine yung innovation is very interesting. And this is the work of Clayton Christensen. He's a esteemed professor in Harvard, and he himself is very successful. And he defines yung kanyang, after many years, sabi niya, paano ko mape-predict with a better chance yung innovation? Ano ba talaga yung nagiging reason why people will buy a product or service? And that's why it's a new lens for innovation because he defines it differently. In fact, it is not about just new products. In fact, it may not even be any of the three, not a new product. It could be a new process, but it's how he views it. And maybe if we can go through the slides quickly so I
Mhm.
can share it and then you can ask me. Kasi medyo, a lot of people kind of, when the first time they see this, parang, huh? It's very different. It's not non-conventional, if you will. So sige, if you,
Yes. Before natin ipakita, sir, meron pong mga nanonood sa atin. Yan, si Sir Gabby,
oh,
Daddy
hi,
Bab,
Gabi.
is watching from
Thank
Paranaque.
you.
Thank you for watching. And also Miguel Vasquez is also watching. If you have questions, just comment sa YouTube or sa Facebook. Okay? And sir,
Thank you.
dyan sa innovation, minsan nagiging confusion sa kanila yung difference ng innovation sa invention. Magkaiba ba yun or similar sila? Anong relationship ng dalawa?
Well, a part of invention is also some innovation, whether it's a new product, a feature, a technology, or a new a process. Like sa supplements, di ba? The
Mhm.
ingredients might be the same, but they discover a delivery system, meaning how the body absorbs the supplement. Sometimes that's what they patent. It's a specialized process. Because of that process, mas na-absorb yung supplement. So, so to your question, yes, it is a part of it. But yun nga, what we're saying is most just rely on something new. More
Mm,
often, ang na-associate yung innovation, kailangan new. Di ba?
okay.
To a certain extent, yes, but not necessarily a new product or a new technology, as
So
we will
yung
see.
invention is part of innovation. Parang
Yes,
mas encompassing yung innovation.
yes, because you can have
I
an
see.
innovation that's not necessarily a new product.
Aha.
It could be a new process,
Aha.
meaning new process that is available to everyone, but you just have seen innovation with a different lens. Nagbago yung
Mm,
lente mo. The world remains the same, but the way you view it is that's the one that
yun
has changed.
nagbago.
Oo.
Okay, okay. Sige
Diba?
po, tingnan natin ang ating first slide. Yan.
Sige, I will attempt kasi medyo ano
Mhm.
to. So, yung kanyang yung work ni Clayton Christensen is that customers don't buy products or services. Rather, they pull products or services into their lives to make progress. So ang ganda
Mhm.
nung ano niya, 'di ba? It's hindi ko naman binili and I'll cite some examples, 'di ba? So the keyword is you and I we're trying to make progress in our daily lives on different things, small things, bigger things, 'di ba? but you're trying to move from point A to point B. And obviously from where you are to a better, di ba? So yun yung gusto ko munang i-frame, di ba? That if you want to know why people bring in products into their lives, because they're trying to make progress. And we will attempt to define that. Sige, next slide.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so in his work, dinefine niya yung progress, yung problem as a job. Ibig sabihin, ito yung gusto niyang ma-achieve. Di ba? Na I'm trying to make progress. Kumbaga, in this particular circumstance. Yun yung key. Yung circumstance. As you will see, the circumstance will dictate why you will get a product given a particular circumstance. Baguhin mo yung circumstance, you may end up using another product. And we'll give you examples. Okay?
Okay. Sige po. Next slide? Okay.
Yes. So, ito yung visual, yung parang sinasabi. Yung produkto mo, whether it's a service or tangible, is a part of the progress. It's not everything, as we will see. Kasi yung progress mo is not just functional. Meron ding other elements na hindi nakikita ng karamihan, but to the consumer is a very important thing. And I will explain that. Okay? So just know that your product represents a portion of the progress that he or she is trying to make. So the question then is, ano yung other portions, di ba? Next slide. Ito yung key elements. So sinabi natin progress. Sinabi natin circumstance. Circumstance can mean sino kasama, anong oras, anong araw, anong nangyayari. That's yung basic circumstance. Or it could be also within the context of life stages. You're starting out in your life, empty nester ka na, you just got out of college. So, depending on circumstance, syempre, yung tinatawag natin priorities, di ba? Different stages in life, that can also be circumstance. And then, of course, may functional need. Ibig sabihin, the product or service does what you needed to do functionally. Ibig sabihin, I need this product to do this and to do that. Now, ito yung sinabi ko, two elements. May social and emotional components rin. And I will explain that in the example. Na kung minsan, mas mabigat ito. Bigyan kita example. Daycare. Not that we do it here. But if we were to do daycare here, yung functional need, the progress you're trying to make is, sino mag-alaga sa anak ko kung magtatrabaho ko, di ba? Yun yung circumstances when I'm going to be working or on my way to work. Functionally, you need someone na physically tignan yung anak mo, di ba? Habang nasa trabaho ka. Pero yung social and emotional is, okay ba tong lugar na to? Okay ba itong taong ito? Lalo yun, yung emotional. Paano ko alam na aalagaan niya yung anak ko? Hindi ko alam yung background niya, nagmumura ba to? So all these questions, in that particular example, sometimes mas mabigat pa yung emotional. Di ba?
And yung social.
Yes. Di ba na ano yung surroundings niya? Kasi baka okay yung tao, pero yung surroundings niya parang hindi okay. That could be one part, the social. So, I'm trying to know that whilst it is a solution, it is not the optimal solution. And you will use daycare for as long as there's no better solution. Sige, pagtsatsagaan mo.
Yung sinasabing walang ibang choice.
Wala naman, di ba? So, you will do with it, ang tawag doon parang in this theory is compensating or workaround. Parang sa Tagalog, pinagtsatsagaan mo na lang dahil wala naman better option.
Walang ibang option, oo.
Right. So, pagtsatsagaan mo. Okay, so let me show you some examples. Okay, next slide. Grab, Uber. Before these guys came along, the progress we are trying to make, di ba, in transportation was I want to get from where I am from point A to point B. Maraming option yun. Before these guys, taxi, limousine service, makihitch, sarili mong kotse, ang dami mong choices.
Tricycle, jeep, naka bus pa.
Tricycle, jeep, oo. Pero alam rin natin, sabihin lang natin yung taxi, it wasn't the best, di ba?
Mhm.
Magpa-flag down ka ng taxi, buti kung tumigil yan. Kung tumigil siya, sunod na tanong, tatanungin ka pa, saan ho kayo papunta? Pag hindi niya type yung lugar, hindi ka na isasakay. Or, isakay ka man, sasabihin, sir ha, wag na natin ibaba yung metro. Kontrata ka. Ang daming, di ba? And then, bulok yung lugar, hindi maayos yung driver. So, but you had no other option. Okay?
Mhm.
Among
Yun yung pinagtsatsagaan.
pinagtsatsagaan.
Oo.
Pasok si Grab and Uber. If you
Mhm.
remember that, same progress, yung circumstances, nagmamadali ka, di ba? You want to
Mhm.
get there, but you also want to get there maayos ka. You feel good in a nice environment. Kaya Grab,
Mhm.
Uber, 3 years or below ang kotse, magalang yung driver, then they use technology, alam mo kung sino yung driver, pwede mo pang ang i-review yung driver,
Yung driver.
pwede ka magbayad ng cash, pwede ka
Mhm.
magbayad ng credit card, makikita mo kung nasa na siya, how many minutes away, plate number, pwede mong So, what I'm trying to say is tinanggal nila lahat ng mga potential, di ba? So, the social, the emotional, yung functional, madali yun eh.
Mhm.
Isasakay ako, papunta dun. Pero yung social and emotional, tinanggal lahat.
You mean
Right? May
na-solve
problema.
nila yung
Na-solve.
backers na
Na-solve.
yun, yung
Oo.
social
And
because of
emotional.
tsaka emotional because of all the information na available agad sa'yo, no, in real time,
Correct. Correct.
na
Hindi
pwede
ka
mo
na
ring i-share
stress.
sa mga kaibigan mo, hindi ka na kabado.
Correct.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
Now, here's a so perfect yun. That's a perfect example. That's how they innovated. Wala naman new dun. Of course, the technology, it's not because of Grab. I mean, the smartphone and all those apps were already in existence, but it helped solve all those social and emotional aspects of the
oo,
progress I'm trying to make. The,
yeah.
the stress, the frustration, disappointment, diba? Na-solve yun. It's such a
Mhm,
pleasure just to ride Grab or Uber, okay, at that
mhm,
time. Now, tignan mo yung role ng circumstance. So, my daughter, carte blanche yan. Ibig sabihin, she can ride Grab daytime. Pero
mhm,
pag nighttime, nagbago yung circumstance from day to night, that's not the best solution for me. I don't allow her.
hmm, mhm,
Bakit? Kasi, ano yung pangamba ko pag gabi? Mag-isa siya
mhm,
with the driver. The same perfect solution during daytime, the circumstance changed, that's not the product I'm not too happy with, or I will
mhm,
not choose. I'd rather tell her to take a shuttle bus or something na maraming tao.
mhm,
Kasi ano yung fear ko, yung emotional part is, uy, I don't want her to be with just a driver. Nighttime. Pero daytime, it's perfectly fine. I'm just citing my own example.
yeah. Nag-iba yung
Circumstance.
nandun pa rin, na-solve pa rin niya yung social, emotional, kaya lang
Pero
yung
yung
circumstance na
circumstance,
nagbago.
nagbago.
Oh, okay, okay.
So what I'm trying to say is, it's not understanding your customer. I mean, not that okay, fine, you might have that data, but that it doesn't predict or hindi yan yung causal mechanism. Bakit mo
Mm,
i-hire yung produkto o yung serbisyong yan? What
mhm,
really makes people bring that in is it solves all those 5 elements. The progress I'm
mhm,
trying to make at what circumstance, and it satisfies the functional, social, emotional components.
mhm,
So what happens is if you use that lens, you're able to really kind of make it a little more predictable and higher success that your innovation along those lines causes people to pull your product. So my last point is, uh, it's not demographics. 58-year-old, 70-year-old, 18, 20, they all take Grab and Uber, right?
mhm,
So, may pera, walang pera, it solves a particular in a circumstance. Di ba?
mhm,
So, the point I'm making is, okay, demographics, okay, but but directionally useful but doesn't really tell you the complete story. Bakit
mhm,
nila ginamit yung produktong yun. So, IKEA, if you need tomorrow to furnish your house, there's only one brand that comes very strongly. Lalo na kung
mhm,
sa Amerika ka. IKEA, punta ka dun, you get it. May cabinet ka, There are other options, Craigslist and all that. But
Mhm.
again, yung challenges, kailangan ikaw kukuha, habibit-bitin mo. So IKEA as an example. Of course, Airbnb. Dati ang choice either kalaban ng ano is either not going or now you go because merong Airbnb. Let's take a look at
Mhm.
just locals and then para we can do question and answer.
Sige, sir. Ayan.
Motolite, okay. Yung circumstance, to me, this is a perfect example. Pag namatayan ako ng baterya, di ba?
Mhm.
And I'm stuck somewhere, di ba? The progress I'm trying to make is get me a battery. Okay?
Mhm.
Get me a battery so I can put a new battery, patay yung battery ako, and then I can
Oo.
go. Di ba?
Yes.
Now, the circumstance is I'm in a place where there's nothing. Buti na lang may cellphone ako, di ba?
Mhm.
So, what are my options? Kung may jumper cable ako, kukuha ako ng tatago ng isang sasakyan, isi-series ko para, mapatakbo ko.
Mhm.
That's kung may jumper cable ka. Pangalawa, kung marunong ka. Di ba?
Mhm.
So, yung circumstance is yun. You're in a place you don't have access. Functionally, you need the battery. But emotionally, socially, I want it now. In fact, I
Mhm.
remember sabihin, sir, patay yung baterya, pakidala dito. Patay nga yung baterya ko eh. How
Hindi ka
can I?
madala. Ang
Hindi
bigat
nga.
pa naman yan kung
Oo. Hindi naman manual yung kotse ko na pwedeng
oo,
itulak, jump start.
oo,
Di ba? Matic.
oo.
So, ano ginawa ni Motolite? Simpleng-simple. Tawag ka ng numero, kukunin
Mhm.
detalye mo. Kung customer ka na, you're on the screen. Kung hindi, they'll get it. They'll send a rider to you. May
Mhm.
dalang baterya. So, tinanong na lahat, ano yung baterya, ano sasakyan, okay. Alam mo na magkano, pwede ka magbayad ng cash, pati credit card, pwede. MPOS.
Mhm.
Tapos, kukunin pa yung old battery mo. Babayaran ka pa, may trade-in.
Kasi hindi mo naman magagamit yun.
Correct. At saka
Masyadong mabigat yun kung paperweight lang.
responsible yung pag-dispose.
Oo, hindi
Kasi
rin siya basta-basta
hazardous
dinidispose.
yun sa
Oo,
environment.
hazard yun.
So,
Correct, correct.
sigurado ka.
Mhm.
Dadating dun in 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Done. Hindi naman fantastic yung motor. They get the job done and it solves all the other elements. Emotionally and socially, you couldn't care. What I need now is somebody to come here, help me deal with this, help me get back on the road. Boom.
Mhm.
Di ba?
Correct.
Direct link insurance. I think, alam mo to, they
Yeah,
removed
before natin i-discuss si Direct Link, hi muna tayo kay Lynn Adloan, nanonood po sa atin. Tsaka si Mac Sustal, nanonood, Miguel
Oh,
Vasquez, Girly Corda, and
wow.
si mama ko, Edith Kaludan is also watching. Maribut
Wow.
Sabana is also watching. Thank
Wow.
you for watching. Kung meron kayong mga questions sa mga dinidiscuss natin ngayon about a new lens for innovation, type niyo lang sa comments dyan sa baba sa Facebook or sa chat dyan banda sa kanan sa YouTube. Ayan. Yes, sir. Direct link.
Directly. I caught this by chance. I read many years ago at the turn of the millennium. So sobrang tagal na. I just saw it. They came out with an ad. Ginawa raw nila. Tinanggal raw nila yung agent. So sila yung yung mag-i-insure, kausapin mo sila diretso. Kaya direct link. What it did was it dropped the premium. And it was such an easy sabi ko, siguro, paano naman to? So I called them. Wow, what a revelation. Everything on the phone. Sir, ano yung details mo? Can you just... Okay, so I gave it to them. But here's the nice thing. When do you think of car insurance? You don't think of car insurance every day out of the 365 days. You only think about this pag renewal time. Di ba?
Yung LTO renewal.
Oh,
Yung registro. Oo,
yes,
registro.
doon mo lang maiisip yan. So they would call a month before. Meron ng email, may tawag, reminder. And then, papadalang ka na nung tao nila. Yung, sir, yung CTPL mo. Kasama na yung lahat, yung panrehistro. Papadeliver sa'yo. Anong oras kayo nandyan sa opisina o sa bahay? Tapos, hindi ko alam. Sabi ko, pwede nyo ba i-rehistro? Meron pa silang service back then. So you get what I'm trying to say? The innovation, there's nothing new to what they really did. Nothing new, but it was really understanding ano ba yung pain points ko. 'Di ba kasi hassle kukunin ko yung bibigay mo sa akin yung insurance, pero pupunta pa ako sa LTO. Papas, i-sketch pa, ano tawag doon? Yung ano, di ba, i-sketch pa yun.
sketch, yung makina, yung serial
Correct.
number.
Oh, it was such an unpleasant, kahit once a year yun, di ba? They took away all of that. I still am a customer of theirs for after 20 years. And then P2P, and just to complete it, di ba? P2P, pag apat kayo, yung circumstance, hindi mo gagawing option niya kasi mas mahal eh. Pero kung mag-isa ka lang, and you just need to go to a certain place, like for me, BGC to Alabang, P2P. Ba't pa ako magkukotse? Sa toll lang eh, mas mahal na eh.
Mas mahal na.
Pero mag-isa ako noon. Pero pag apat kami, baguhin mo yung circumstance, eh hindi sulit. Mas mura na magkotse ako. Diba? So, again, see those little things that go into your mind to make those decisions. Whoever understands that with this lens gets the business. Okay ba yun? Does that?
Yep. And meron isa pa, si Mark Anthony Garcia also watching us from Rodriguez Rizal. Ayan. Thank you po for watching. Again, kung may questions po kayo, type nyo lang sa comments sa Facebook or chat sa YouTube. Ayan.
Yes. And these are other local brands that what I call, they get the job done. Ibig sabihin na, I don't know whether alam nila or hindi, but they understand ano yung progress that their customers trying to make. So Maxes, as a last one, si Maxes, pag kailangan mo ng reunion, may balikbayan ano ka, pang! It's not just about the chicken. Diba? You want
yung
to have
convenience, no, na parang pinlano na nila lahat.
Lahat. Diba?
The whole package na.
So when I'm trying to make progress, saan ko dadalhin yung bisita ko, yung balikbayan, that's Pinoy, and that, masarap yung pagkain, reasonable, ay sila yung parang purpose brand mo. In that instance that you're trying to make progress. May bisita ka, di ba? You don't know what to, saan ko dadalhin to? Diba? Or pancake is like that, parang, hindi ko alam ano gusto ko kainin. Comfort food. O sige, pancake. Nakuha mo? So it's the circumstance, the progress, and in what circumstance. Diba? Yun yung nagiging determinant. Parang, call center ka. It's lunch time. Kailangan mo mag-lunch, kailangan mabilis, kailangan mura, kailangan malinis. Tama?
Correct.
So, kaya nandun si Jollibee at si McDo sa baba ng building ng call center. In that circumstance, it's the perfect solution. The same person who ate there for lunch, after work, iba na yung circumstance. Hindi siya nagmamadali, may oras siya, he can make a choice as to what he wants to eat. Hindi siya customer ng McDo.
Or Jollibee.
The same person.
Sa Max na siya or pancake.
Or it could be something else.
Yes.
Iba yung circumstance eh. Hindi na ako nagmamadali. I can take my time or I can make the healthy choice.
Correct.
Right?
Kumbaga yung sa kasi sa mga fast food, ang talagang pinaka-forte nila is yung word na fast. Hindi masyado sa food, no? Mabilis at mura. Yun yung pinaka-bentahe nila.
Right. Yan yung circumstance. Tayo, Eric, di ba? When we're doing our nagmamadali, or if you're abroad, the circumstance is, hindi mo alam yung diet nila, you don't know if they're clean, you don't know kung mahal. So those are the things in your head. It's not titipid ka lang because hindi mo rin sigurado kung okay ka sa street food unless may kakilala ka, di ba? And those are the things that get into your head. And you say, okay, sige, let's do McDo. Diba? Fast food.
Yun kasi yung familiar na tayo, no? Pag nasa abroad tayo.
Predictable, alam mo na. You know what to expect. Yeah. In that circumstance. Pero kung may host ka who will tell you, no, it's safe to eat here and I want you to try. Di syempre, iba yung circumstance, di ba? Okay. Sige.
Si Mercury Drug naman, sir. Ano namang kwento ni Mercury?
If you want to be sure that you're getting the right kind of medicine, and that's how they position themselves, right? The right medicine at the right price and kompleto pirmi yan, you go to Mercury. And besides, they're everywhere. They're 24 hours. So lahat yun, di ba? Yung kumbaga yung pain points mo, tinatanggal. Whoever
Yeah.
removes all the functional, emotional, social pain points in a certain circumstance, ay yun ang kukunin ng
Sila
tao.
yung panalo. Oo, sila yung
Pirme.
kukunin.
Correct.
Si Palawan, Palawan Pawn Shop or Palawan
Okay.
Express.
Yung maid namin, sabi ko, ba't ka ba doon nagpupunta? Sabi niya, sir, mura yung fee. And I checked it, that's right. Second is, sigurado ako matatanggap. In 5 or 10 minutes, pag tawag ko, yung helper namin, she's
Oo,
from Negros. In 5-10 minutes, nagte-text na yung mother niya.
na natanggap na.
Tanggap na yung pera. And that's talagang clockwork, yung reliability. Naglalakad siya,
Mhm.
she will walk out. But the fee is so low compared to the others.
Mhm.
Plus yung reliability. Kasi in that circumstance, pinaghirapan mong pera, the two things that are important to you is na makatipid ka dun sa pag-remit mo and sigurado.
Siguradong dumating.
Correct. Mas matindi yung
Oo,
kahit maglakad ako basta sigurado ako. So you
correct.
get what this is how this framework helps you.
Yeah.
Kasi iba yung importante sa customer eh, 'di ba? At that in that particular instance or circumstance.
Yeah. Kaya importante talaga na kumpleto, no, yung innovation na gagawin natin or yung business na gagawin natin, yung produkto or services na i-offer natin. Very important na kumpleto, ma-solve natin lahat ng mga aspects na yan. No? Yung progress, ano ba yung gustong gawin ng customer
Iso-solve.
natin?
Yung
Ma-solve
sinosolve mo,
natin
ere.
yung circumstance, lahat ng iba-ibang circumstance, yung functional, yung social, pati yung emotional, no? Na ma-solve lahat yan, mag-check, kumbaga checklist yan, tick box, no? Or
Oh,
kung sa,
example.
oo,
Example, ako customer mo. I
mm,
needed to make progress. Na paano ba ako mag-text blast ng marami? And I
mm,
needed it to happen quickly and not too expensive. Yun yung circumstance ko. And I needed somebody I can rely on.
mm,
Functionally, para mag-text blast ako.
mm,
Pero I didn't want to have to go through yung ano na sobrang dami kong i-evaluate. I don't even know who's really. So I knew you a bit. You've done work with me. So emotionally, panatag yung loob ko. And then I know that, I've seen enough of your clients who have used your product. So you address all eh.
mm,
I can go to anybody
mm,
for SMS.
yeah,
But in some parts of these elements, kung
mm,
hindi nasosolve, lalo yung social, I don't want to be seen na mag-i-introduce ako ng technology provider na palpak.
correct. Kasi yung integrity mo rin yung nakataya doon.
Ako
Pangalan mo
yung
rin nakataya.
So yun, got nothing to do with IT, but got everything to do with, baka mapahiya ako.
Mm, correct, correct.
Di ba? Now, to you, that may not be a big thing, but to me, in deciding, that's very big.
Mhm, mhm,
Mapapahiya ba ako or magde-deliver ba to? And you know
correct.
this. That's why I keep recommending you
Mhm.
because I already know the reliability. So that's the application. Does it make sense, Eric?
Yes, yes. So para
And
tong
then,
ano, sa
panatag yung loob
qualify,
ko.
oo. Para siyang yung criteria for judging, di ba? To see kung
Exactly.
sino ba yung better company or better business, no, or better services na ino-offer. Ito yung parang criteria, no? Ano ba yung in terms of progress, anong score? In terms of circumstance, anong score niya? Functionality, social, emotional. Kung 10 10 10 10 lahat 'yon, then that's the perfect solution, di
Yun yung
ba?
pipiliin mo.
Yun yung pipiliin mo.
So
Correct,
nagiging
correct.
predictable. And
Yeah.
it's not necessarily because it's new technology.
Mm,
The social and emotional has got to do a lot with trust and
mm.
how you address that issue. Lalo na kung, it's a consumer product, you don't know the person that much. How do you
Mm.
address those issues?
Sir, kung ano, kung i-rank mo siya, no, itong mga boxes, i-rank mo siya from 1 being the most important, tapos 5 is the least important, paano mo sila i-rank?
It's hard to do it that way kasi in my same example, Eric, the perfect example during daytime is not my number one at night. Nagbago kasi in circumstance eh.
Yeah, so ibig
So,
sabihin, mas mataas yung circumstance versus the social emotional. Or ganun ba yun?
Well, hindi eh. Kasi sometimes it could be the social emotional which is at play. Kunyari, if I'm recommending somebody, what's very high on my list is, pag ni-recommend ko ba tong taong to, mapapahiya ba ako? Baka sabihin, pare, hayop ka naman. So it's a totally different, di ba? And
Mhm.
it depends what circumstance. Am I in a very senior position? It's you can't really make which is higher. All I know is all these things are in play. Now, sometimes one of them is higher,
Aha.
'di ba? It depends on ano yung situation or yung context, which is also the circumstance,
So
'di ba?
siguro ang mas magandang visual dito sa lima na 'to is para silang chain 'no, na talagang magkakadikit, na kapag merong isang nawala, sasabog siya or 'di ba parang hindi
Eh,
siya viable.
you're not the best solution. There yung
Mm,
parang okay, it's not the best but since there's nothing else, de yan na muna.
oo.
Or
So equal sila, equal priority.
yes, or
Oo,
wag na lang. Ito pa yung isang
oo,
concept. Ang maganda dito is yung competition mo is no longer just the same product. You could be competing against nothing. Ibig sabihin, since there's no nice solution, eh hindi ko na lang gagawin.
correct,
Balik
correct.
tayo sa Uber. Eh, ang
Oo.
hirap nung Uber, eh, hindi na lang pupunta. Di ba?
Cancel na lang. Oo,
Cancel.
cancel na lang, oo.
Wag na lang.
Correct, correct.
So, your
Ayan, may
company,
question po tayo.
yeah.
Ayan, question po tayo from Sir Gabi Dadiba. So innovation need not be a rocket science or Silicon Valley tech. It's a matter of providing the right mix of elements that gives you an edge against competition.
Yes, and thank you, Gabi. In fact, I did this innovation workshop for a client, and
Mhm.
it really, they're in a very interesting industry that really requires this. And when I did the activities through Zoom breakout rooms, talagang what they were able to produce from what they have right now.
Mhm.
It's really understanding yung causal mechanism. Why will a person pull your product or service? That's
Mhm.
the progress I'm trying to make in a given circumstance, which I know has functional, social, and emotional elements to it. If you address all those things, the entire story, there are good chances your product is what they will pull in. It's got nothing,
Nag-change.
yeah,
Oo.
circumstance. Eh.
Yes. Meron pang question po dito from Jose Marie Talenio. Hello, Sir Eric and Sir Enrico. Any tips on how to choose a target market? Magandang question. How to choose a target
Yes.
market?
That's it's I will attempt to answer your question. So typically the way companies will do that is, they'll do demographics, psychographics, segment here, similar characteristics, purchase motivators, blah blah blah, the usual. This particular lens for innovation will be different because what you think is your usual market will change. Like sino ang kalaban ngayon, 'di ba? Like under the traditional way, you would say ang kalaban mo are similar transport, 'di ba? Kunyari Uber, kalaban niya taxi, kalaban niya limousine service, yung mga providers, 'di ba? Yun yung traditional view of it. But when you put on this lens, you're also competing with not making the trip at all,
Lalo na
'di ba?
ngayon, quarantine
Oh,
period, di ba?
so
Yun na yung next na competitor.
correct. Which is also the opportunity for you. Your market is no longer just limited to the people who are not using your product. Maybe the reason they're not using it's precisely there is no optimal solution. So people would rather not. You see what I'm saying? So yung market mo becomes there's more areas of opportunity. Like some people, kung walang Airbnb, they probably would not have taken the trip because all of a sudden now there's an affordable way to take on a long trip and it meets their need. Their family, they're together, they're in a safe place, hindi naman ganun kamahal. So it's just getting used to this lens that helps you identify what a target market may be. And it might be bigger than the traditional definition if you start to understand and practice this new lens. I hope that made sense for Jose Mari. Uh, I don't hear you, Eric.
Okay, yan.
Okay.
Naka-mute pala kanina. So thank you po sa inyong mga comments. Type nyo lang sa comments sa Facebook kung may mga questions pa po kayo or feedback or chat sa YouTube para masagot po natin.
So,
Ayan,
Eric,
Joe Tanan is also watching from Makati. Ayan, thank you po. Evelyn Castañeda watching and Oliver Dizon, Girly Corda is
salamat.
also watching.
Eric,
Thank you po. Yes, sir.
ikaw may tanong ka, I'm sure.
Oo. So yung question ko naman, no, dito sa pandemic nga, no, yung ibang mga nagiging competitors ng mga businesses, no, ano yung ideal na iisipin nila or dapat na i-consider dito sa innovation, sa pag-iisip? Kasi marami ngayon na nawala ng trabaho, so nag-iisip sila ng business or may business sila kaso very affected by social distancing and the pandemic, no? Ano yung tips na mabibigay natin sa kanila to look for the right innovation or the right pivot or the right
Yeah.
business? Yan. Paano natin sila matutulungan?
Isa-isay natin dun sa example mo. Ano yung progress that they're trying to make? So, let's say, bumagsak benta, they want to, of course, increase.
Yes, increase. Yes.
That's the progress. Now, what's the circumstance? Po siya, hindi na pwedeng pumunta ang tao kung brick and mortar tayo, reduced capacity.
Mhm.
So, yun yung circumstance, di ba? And may limits, di ba? May limits as to how many people, di ba? Aside from yung fear ng tao. Okay? So, that's the circumstance that you're in, di ba? That's for the company. But for the customer, hindi tatakot rin ako lumabas. So, yung circumstance ko is tatakot ako lumabas, pero gusto kong pagkasawa na ako sa paglutong bahay, once or twice a week, gusto ko mag-order. Sawa na ako sa lutong bahay. At the same time, maybe I want to give the maids some break from cooking. So, yun yung in that circumstance, if you understand in that circumstance and you communicate to me, perfect ka. Sunday, kapag gusto nyong pagpahingahin yung frontliner nyo, which is the katulong, if I communicate that way, okay yun ha. O ito naman, para sila makapahinga, and then ito, mag-order kayo. So I'm doing it by circumstance. That's one way I could innovate. Diba? Kapag gusto nyong pagpahingayin yung inyong kasambahay na nagluluto, nagmamahal sa inyo 6 days a week, bigyan nyo naman siya ng konting break. Kayo naman umorder ng pagkain. Or, pag maulan, it could be the circumstance. Wow, siguro, sarap something that's soup. So, you have to play, you have to understand. And these jobs or this progress, you don't create them. They're already existing. You just have to look for them from observation, from discussion. So, that's how you formulate yung story.
Yes. And kung halimbawa ang business sila, no, so ibig sabihin meron silang existing na business or meron silang existing product line or production, one way of pivoting is to look for other opportunities na related sa business nila. Like merong mga businesses na dati gumagawa ng mga uniforms, mga school uniforms. Ang problema ngayon, 'di ba, wala nang school. So, yung iba nag-pivot sila, instead of school uniforms, ang ginagawa nila mga face mask, which is yun yung mabenta ngayon, face mask and PPEs, 'di ba?
Okay.
Yung iba naman, meron nagma-manufacture sila ng mga cologne, yung cologne, perfumes, yung mga ganon, so may mga oils, etc. And then, nung nangyari itong pandemic, nag-start silang gumawa ng alcohol, which is parang the same process, no? The same raw materials, nag-iba lang yung produkto na ginawa nila. So, pwedeng doon sila manggaling. No? Kung ano yung existing nila or expertise nila.
Eric, kanina, you showed me a link. Sino yung retrofitting? Oh, yun. Diba?
Yeah, si Architect Dan, yung retrofitting your workspace.
Kasi, tignan mo yun. Kasi, you're at home. All of a sudden, napapansin mo, ang dami ko palang basura, hindi pala organized. So, what the progress I'm trying to make? Since I'm at home anyway, I wanna fix the clutter. And what's the circumstance? I want to do it naman ng, maybe I can be guided. So, yung kanya, di ba? Okay. Functionally,
meron din tayong friend na gano'n. Oo. Ano siya, 5S, yung 5S license siya or expert, yung the way to organize. Tapos nung nauso nga itong work from home, study from home, naging consultant na siya on
Okay.
organizing your home, organizing your work from home station, no? Parang ganon. So
Yes.
kung alam niyo yung Marie Kondo sa Netflix, yun yung ginagawa niya, siya yung local Marie Kondo.
Oh,
So
okay.
nagko-consulting siya about organizing. Yun. So
I
isa yun sa
see.
pwedeng pivot point, no? Which is also an innovation.
Right. Basta, ang tandaan nyo yung sa innovation, the five things, if you want to innovate, and innovate doesn't mean introduce necessarily
Nothing.
new stuff. No, not, okay, you might be introducing a new process, a new thing, but it's not features and benefits na cutting edge technology. No, it's understanding what's the progress, in what circumstance, what's the functional and social and emotional elements of the
At
progress that they're trying to make.
yes, at kailangan checkbox yun, isa-isahin. No? Kaya may
Oh,
question po tayo from Sir Gabby. How can a business create the need to sell a new product?
well, you have to formulate the story. So, Gabby, you can get this from observation. So, with all the changes, go back to what progress are people trying to make and in what circumstance. Because the circumstance gives you the opportunity. I could be the same person, but if you change the circumstance, I could be your customer for 5 or 6 products. Yun nga, if you understand what progress am I trying to make in a circumstance. So yung balik ako sa example ko, Grab sa umaga, wow, perfect solution. Sa gabi, hindi ko yun perfect solution. If you showed me a way na mabawasan yung fear ko na mag-isa yung anak ko with the driver, I'm the same customer, and you addressed my issue because of the circumstance, which is putting a lot of pressure on my emotional need na yung fear or yung safety. If you address that, I'm still your customer, right? I'm not the customer now because the circumstance, there's too much fear as the father that she's alone with the driver.
Mm. Yung ano rin siguro, no, yung isa ring para another way of thinking of it is instead of creating the need, you look for the need, no? That's yun nga, when you look for circumstances, you're basically looking for the need.
Nandun
And
na
if
eh.
you have the solution for that
Yeah,
need, then you have an opportunity. You have a product. You have
yeah.
something to offer.
I think it was in India. And somebody correct me, but if I recall, they devised Uber Walk. Now,
Okay?
this was because in India, I don't know which part of India, the ladies, if they were going to go through a very populated area, yung incidence ng rape, grabe,
Mm-hmm.
mataas. So there was this service where somebody would walk with the lady, almost like your parang bodyguard,
Mm-hmm.
para lang, hindi ka ma-attack or mabawasan yung incidence of rape.
Mm-hmm.
It was a service, Uber Walk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pero
So
meron ding mga ano 'no, meron ding mga innovation na hindi nagiging success. Like parang dati naalala ko nagkaroon ng Grab Chopper, 'di ba? Para daw
yeah,
ma-solve yung traffic problem, pero parang hindi siya nag-fly.
yeah. Well, again, I know in France, maybe for certain people, again,
Oo.
it's go back to the model. I don't have all the answers because you're gonna need to unravel the story. Ano yung
Ah,
full story nung tao? Yun ang maganda sa framework na to. You
mhm.
you have to understand the entire story. In fact,
Hmm,
in his book, yung isang university na they did this, and they identified yung they dropped out from school, nagkaroon na ng pamilya, and they're working, but they realize that if they want to advance in their career, they have to have a degree. So the university used this model and targeted them. So ang classes nila, pag tulog na si baby, and it had to be all online. Wow, the profit,
hmm.
wow, amazing. They were speaking to these people and they identified everything. Kailangan within 10 minutes ma-resolve. Makikredit ba yung dati kong... So inayos na yung process nila
Oo.
na masasagot nila. And then immediately, may financial package. So they realized that I'm trying to make progress. I don't have much time. These are the things that are important to me. Makikredit ba yung dati? Masasagot mo? Okay. In 10 minutes, they were closing it. And that
At
became...
importante dun sa sinabi niyo, sir, yung keyword is realized, no? And before ka umabot dun sa point na you realized, you do research, no? And
Yeah.
one of the ways that you do research is talagang listen, no? Listen to your potential customers or listen to the general public, no? And ako actually nakikinig ako sa mga news, no? And ang pinapakinggan ko sa news hindi yung mga chismis, hindi yung anything about entertainment. Ang pinapakinggan ko is yung mga problems na potentially pwede kong ma-solve. Kasi kung masosolve ko yung problem na yun, then I have a business. I have a product to offer. I have services to offer, no? So isa 'yon, pwede kang mag-research or tingnan mo yung Facebook feed mo or ano yung mga nagiging problema ng mga tao, no? Na kasi pag yun nga, you look for the pain, you look for the need, and then see if you have the solution. If you have the solution, then you have a business. You have a new product.
Yeah.
Diba?
Ay, ang tawag lang nun, sabi nito si Doctor pa, Clayton Christensen, ang tawag niya dun yung progress. Anong progress? What am I trying to do?
Solve. Oo.
Oo,
Ano yung
solve.
progress na tinatry
In,
mong
in a
ma-solve?
certain circumstance. In a circumstance. Like
Mm.
your products, di ba? You make it so easy. Kasi ito, Eric, madalas to sa IT. Lalo na sa companies. One of the biggest pushbacks on any new, whether it's ERP or ano, is yung social and emotional. Eh, boss ka, tapos makikita na hindi ka marunong, hindi ka
Oo.
tech savvy.
Correct.
The one who understands that will find a way. Oh, don't worry, we'll help you
One-on-one coaching.
one-on-one. Oh, para they don't look to them. Napakalaking, that's the big reason why they push back.
Correct.
And if you understand and are very observant, and you can address that, they'll be the first ambassadors of the change.
Mm. Correct.
I've seen that happen. The
Yan.
only reason there was pushback was because yun nga.
Oo. Okay. So thank you po for joining us this week. Ang ating topic naman next week ay saan ba to? Ang ating topic next week ay employee or entrepreneur conditioning. Ayan. So ano bang overview nito, sir? Itong topic natin next week, employee or entrepreneur conditioning.
Well, it simply is, it's a good look at us kung how we were conditioned when we were young. Di ba? Certain generations were conditioned largely maging empleyado ka. Good grades, good school, get a good job, retire. Or some parts of our, specifically siguro the Chinese, it was never about being employees. It's always about, no, you run your own.
Yeah.
Right?
So
understanding how conditioning affects, di ba?
Our mindset, di ba? Again, it's about our mindset. And dito nga sa Truly Happy One, our goal is to put in our fellow Filipinos, no, yung mindset that we are world class. No, we are world class Pinoy. Yan. Thank you po ulit for joining us, and we will end our episode with our usual panatang makabayan. So sabay-sabay po natin itaas ang ating kamay at bigkasin ang ating panatang makabayan. Iniibig ko ang Pilipinas, aking lupang sinilangan, tahanan ng aking lahi. Kinukupkop ako at tinutulungan upang maging malakas, masipag at marangal. Dahil mahal ko ang Pilipinas, diringgin ko ang payo ng aking mga magulang. Susundin ko ang tuntunin ng lipunan. Tutuparin ko ang tungkulin ng mamamayang makabayan. Naglilingkod, nag-aaral at nagdarasal ng buong katapatan. Iaalay ko ang aking buhay, pangarap at pagsisikap sa bansang Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po, and we'll see